You want to talk about stupid laws? There's some for you. Millions of them. And how we ever allowed this to occur in this country, I'll never know. But I pray for the day when a constitutional sheriff, and maybe it'll be Russell Bolton, with the knowledge and understanding of our Constitution, will know and understand that it'll be his duty to arrest a couple of IRS agents. There's the next shot heard around the world for you, you know? So, what am I saying when I say we don't enforce stupid laws? Can the sheriff really pick and choose which laws he's going to enforce? I'm here to tell you, folks, that when we know and understand what's going on here, that the answer to that question is absolutely not. He cannot pick and choose. What did he swear to do? Follow the Constitution. He can only enforce laws that he knows within his heart and mind and soul, after studying and learning and knowing the Constitution, that he cannot enforce laws that are outside the Constitution. Okay? Are there some gray areas? Yeah, I would imagine so, here and there. Very, very few. Is it rocket science to know that the whole Bill of Rights starts with Congress shall make no law, and that when they do, we stand against it? And that the 5 principles of freedom protected in the First Amendment must be protected by the sheriff. And that when tickets become excessive, fines and bail, that he will not participate with that either. And that he knows and understands that if you really live in a free society, that our job is not to protect citizens from their own stupidity. And we allow them to make their own decisions about whether or not they wear seatbelts. Okay? That's not our job to force you to wear a seatbelt. The state legislature says we're supposed to. And the sheriffs, they tell the state legislature, no, we're not your puppets and we're not going along. And what happens when that happens? You reconnect with freedom. And we get our country back. We get our Constitution back. You get your children and families and homes and livelihoods back. And you have somebody who's actually defending your rights and your Constitution. That's when we get America back, folks. And it even says in here, there's a whole thing on page 12, a heading called "The States Are Not Puppets." And Scalia said in here, the states are not puppets of a ventriloquist Congress. We're not. Okay? Do you see how powerful this decision is? Now, the order of the court goes like this. It starts at the bottom of page 13. Listen to this, folks. Do you think this is pretty powerful? Do you think you ought to have other people in this state? How about every politician? How about every political leader? Every state rep, every state senator, the governor's office, every county commissioner, every county attorney get a copy of this. That's what we're going to try to do in every state of the union. Send them one of these so they know and understand. The Supreme Court and a couple of sheriffs made it possible where everybody knows that the federal government is not our boss. And listen to this order. This is Justice Scalia shaking his finger at the United States Congress saying this: the federal government may neither issue directives requiring the states to address particular problems, nor command the state's officers or those of their political subdivisions to administer or enforce a federal regulatory program. It matters not whether policy making is involved, and no case-by-case weighing of the burdens or benefits is necessary. Such commands are fundamentally incompatible with our constitutional system of dual sovereignty. End quote. Folks, do you wish everybody in this state that says they work for you knew and understood that last paragraph I just quoted you? Wouldn't that be wonderful if they knew that? My favorite quote, though, from this entire decision goes like this, quote, "But the Constitution protects us from our own best intentions." How's that one? If your local officials heard nothing else in the next 10 years, and that was the only thing they read and got from this decision, it would be worth all the time and effort and money to send this to every single one of them. But the Constitution protects us from our own best intentions. It divides power among sovereigns and among branches of government precisely so that we may resist the temptation to concentrate power in one location as an expedient solution to the crisis of the day. End quote. Crisis of the day. A crisis they cause and they make up and they propagandize and get you all convinced that we just got to have this socialized health care because we're all dying. Do you know what, folks? There are so many principles of freedom in this thing, it's almost scary. And is there a reason why they hid this from us? Absolutely. They don't want you to know that the federal government is impotent. They don't want you to know that they're not the boss. And some of your state officials don't want to know it either because they want to keep that money coming in. You know, that's how they control us. That's how they snag us. That's how they bait us and hook us. And you know what? Do you want to know which state in the Union is the richest state in the Union? Will be the richest state in the Union. It'll be the first one that stops playing the extortion money game with Washington, D.C. Now, Washington will say, okay, we're sick and tired of you Sheriff Boltons and all you other radicals out there in Washington and in the West saying that the federal government can't come in and control all the things you're doing. We're sick and tired of that, so we're going to do something to you. We're going to withhold all your money. And then your state goes, county commissioners or whoever, but especially your state, your governor and your state legislature says, well, we're really glad you brought that up because we're not sending any more money to Washington, D.C. That will be the richest state in America. Okay? Now, so where do we go from here? We go to freedom. That's where. Where does it all start? Maybe you think there's hope in Washington, D.C. Well, there's not much. Now, I'm supporting candidates that believe in the Constitution for Congress, and I sure hope some of them get elected to take the pressure off the counties and states, because the way you start with freedom is in your own backyard. It starts here in the county. If you have 2 county commissioners, a county attorney, and a county sheriff who are constitutional and keep their oaths to uphold and defend the Constitution, it'll all start right here and spread from here. And we are not going to put up with any more unconstitutionality or criminality of Washington, D.C. And it starts in Stevens County, and hopefully it's going to start in other counties where we've been doing this. In Montana, we have a lot of constitutional sheriffs running. In Colorado, we have them running. In Wyoming, we have them running. In Idaho, we have them running. And folks, it's the only real answer you got left. Now, how much are you willing to get involved with this?